You must have seen it before. The billboards have a picture of a couple curled up on a sofa in front of a roaring fire, preferably with a mug of hot chocolate in their hand. And the tag says, "Your dream new home?" ? It's obviously an advert for the estate agents who want you to get into the mood, thinking about your dream new home and promising a smooth and wonderful experience. But if any of you have actually moved house, you'll know that solicitors and stamp duty and mortgages and packing boxes is anything but smooth and stress-free. So in this video, I am going to be exploring what are the stressors that happen to us, particularly in the subconscious, when we move house. How does our psyche work? What's happening inside of us as we go through that big journey of selling up, packing up and moving? At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a guided visualization for a house move, ideal to follow in the days and weeks leading up to the big M day. But before we get on to guided visualizations, let's have a think about some of the things that go on for you when you are moving house. Now, lots of things change in a house move, not just your address and the amount of money in your bank account. And many of these changes happen at a subconscious level. So this isn't the thinking that runs our day-to-day world, but the thinking that happens just below the surface. And often the stresses are there, just out of reach of our day-to-day thinking. In fact, it's true that many people, when they're going through a house move, have crazy dreams about strange events. This is all part of your psyche trying to manage the big changes that are happening in your world and adjust to all the new information coming in. Uncertainty is processed partly in the subconscious. And with a house move, anything can happen. Until you actually have the keys in your hand for your new house, sales can fall through and banks can pull mortgages and surveys can show that there's damp rot in the basement. So the uncertainty of a move is something that will cause stress as you go through it. Another thing that changes is your neighbours. It sounds simple, but whether you're moving in the same road or to a completely different town or country, the people you know will change. And these people form part of your familiar. So saying goodbye and saying hello, all is work that you need to do at a subconscious level. Similarly, your subconscious mind has learnt the environment of your home. And it has automated some of the processes that you do every day. Things like finding the cereal cupboard and getting your breakfast, reverse parking onto the drive and avoiding the neighbour's bush, or learning how to open the wardrobe so that it doesn't squeak. All of these are things that your brain has had to process and your subconscious mind now runs on autopilot. All of the thinking needs to be done again, and this can be a source of tension and a drain in your body. Obviously, the financial uncertainty of house move and the will they, won't they, buy or sell is a big and powerful drain on your emotional and mental and psychological energy and will cause stress. Whether or not you have to physically pack the boxes or you've got somebody doing that for you, putting your belongings into a box and into a van can be a tricky situation to find yourself in and can trigger all kinds of emotions. Be aware that the physical side of a moving will be stressful for you and your family, and you may find that tensions run high and emotions break out. Arguments are more likely to happen between couples or families who are going through a house move and negotiating different aspects of the move. So there are some things that you might want to think about in identifying the causes of stress. Because the first step to having a stress-free house move is to work out what is causing the stress. If that hasn't helped, then you can try asking yourself this one powerful question to unlock the fear factors in your brain and your psyche. What is the worst that could happen? Now, it might not be that fun to dwell on negativities, but in psychological terms, giving voice to the fears is a really healthy process. And in a house move, there are loads of fears that you might be managing. Supposing the buyer pulls out, supposing we find a leak in the roof, supposing our children don't like the new house. So many things could be the worst thing that could happen for you. So get a pen and paper and a peaceful space and ask yourself that question: what is the worst thing that could happen? What are my stresses underneath the thoughts about packing and moving away? When you've identified the worst thing, acknowledge that that is a scary situation that you don't want to be in. Even if it sounds far-fetched, allowing your psyche to release the tension it has and the stress factors it carries is a really healthy process for you as you move house. And do the same thing with the question, what's the best thing that could happen? Really focus in on the opportunities of the move so that you can stimulate all the positive emotions as well as the negative ones, because these will replenish your system and give you a fresh perspective when the going gets tough and the packing's not really happening. At the end of this video, I will be walking you through a guided meditation that you can use in the days and weeks leading up to the big move day to calm your mind and to enrich your experience, so that not only are you aware of the stress factors, but you're aware of the possibilities, the excitement and the newness that comes with having a new space to call home. Ironically, stress in the body makes it more difficult for us to get proper rest and nutrition that we need. We're more likely to struggle with emotional eating and sleeplessness if we're stressed through a house move, and it could be a good idea to acknowledge that you've got some coping mechanisms going on and not to judge yourself or criticize yourself for those. It is one of the hardest things that you can do in your life, moving house, and is often the cause of tension and friction in relationships. So don't give yourself a hard time. Recognize that stress is there, but just become absolutely brilliant at acknowledging it, giving voice to it, and learning how to diminish it and focus in on the comfort, calm, and positivity that's available to you. Now, a little bit about the brain before we talk about using visualization and mindful meditation. There are three parts to your brain. There is the neocortex, the top part, the limbic system, kind of in the middle, and then the reptilian brain or the brain stem right at the back and the bottom. They all perform different functions. The limbic system, it's the job of the limbic system to regulate emotion, internal experiences, and to form memories. And the feature of the limbic system that makes it really interesting is that it doesn't differentiate between what is real and what is imaginary, which is why when you go to a film, even though you know the story's made up and the characters are just actors, you get involved in the drama and you feel the emotions of it. That's because any inputs that are coming into your limbic system via your senses, sight, hearing, smell, taste and touch, and your other 6th, 7th and 8th senses, your internal world and your sense of others in your external world, any information that's coming through those senses will trigger thoughts and processes in your limbic system, which is brilliant for visualization, because you can create experiences for your brain that are the kind of ones you want to have without actually having them. Let me explain. If you know that you want to have a calm and peaceful house move, you can imagine yourself in that house move. So you can create as much detail as possible around what that would feel like, look like, what would happen, and how you might be in that experience. And as you have those visualizations and your body engages with it, the information that's coming in gets processed in the same way as if you'd actually moved house. Scientists tell us that even if you just imagine playing the piano and practicing finger exercises, the same muscles get stimulated as if you actually do the exercises with your fingers. So you are rehearsing stress-free house move using these visualization experiences. The key here is to create a powerful experience. So really get lost in your imagination. If you're one of those people that's not used to using their imagination or has been told that the imagination can be dangerous or not to be trusted, it will take you a few times to get this going. But as you get better at it and you get good at noticing without judgment what's happening in your body and in your mind, you can make the most wonderful, powerful experiences and then change the outcome for what actually happens when you go to move. So you will find you are more naturally stress-free. You expect to have peace and calm and good positive experiences. And so the feedback you get from the world around you will resonate with that internal environment you've created through visualization. It really is that effective. So a visualization for house move would look like imagining the day of moving and how it might go. So you'd walk yourself through any imaginary steps during the day. Now, it's important to remember the aim here is not to predict accurately what's going to happen, but to explore and create an experience that will live with you when you actually have your moving day. So it doesn't matter if what you imagine is way off how it turns out. Just remember that you are creating memories that your limbic system is processing as information to help your psyche to deal with what is coming, which is your house move. So start at the beginning of the day. Imagine closing up your house and getting in the van or driving your car to your new house. Imagine walking through the door and going into each of the rooms. Imagine unpacking the boxes. Particularly focus on how you feel internally during the visualization. Give yourself time to let it unfold and do not judge what you feel. It may be that negative emotions come up as much as positive ones as you do this. That's absolutely fine. Note them down. Affirm what you see and spot that's coming from your psyche as a positive verbal affirmation. You might say something like, I know I'm going to be scared about leaving my house. I know I will find it hard to say goodbye. I know that unpacking boxes will be tiring. I may feel stressed or worried. And then you can add, but if I'm good at spotting the signs and taking a break when I need it, we can all be stress-free. I will ask for help. I will stop when I need to. I will learn to have a good cry and then relax into the process of moving. All of these verbal stimulations that you receive in your brain as sounds, inputs, are creating the experience almost like a hypnotic experience of learning to be calm and process the move really well. So when you think you're ready, prepare yourself for a visualization meditation about your house move. You'll want a calm space where you can concentrate. It'll be a great idea to have a pen and paper to note down affirmations and things that you notice from your internal world. Some calm music or some nice essential oils can help add to the sensory experience of your moving visualization. Start with this affirmation. My imagination is a powerful agent for intelligence in my life. I can learn to listen and to trust what it has to show me about my world. Now bring to your imagination your current house, but empty of furniture. See the features of your house, the walls, the doors and the windows, and yourself walking around in it. Go into the rooms one by one as if it was the last time. And as you take your imaginative tour around your house, use these words of release. Thank you, house, for being my home, for the safety and shelter you brought me, for the memories you enabled that have enriched my life. It's time for me to move on. I release you from my consciousness. I let go of all unhelpful associations that this house holds and wipe the slate clean as I enter my new house. Using your imagination, take the journey from the current old house to the new one. Pause at the front door and notice how you feel. Use this affirmation to welcome your new house. My new house is a place of shelter and belonging for me. It provides rest, peace and space for my life to unfold. I look forward to the experiences I will have here. If you can, say these affirmations out loud, pausing the video where you need to, so that the experience can be as full as possible and as many sensory inputs can come in as you're doing this visualization. Now imagine that you take a tour of your new fully furnished house. Go into each room in your imagination and continue to allow yourself to notice what happens. Spot new things or see how you handle yourself as you walk around your house. And then finally, imagine yourself climbing into your new bed and falling asleep. This is where the visualization ends, and when you're ready, you can bring yourself back into your experience of the current moment. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful in your moving process. Please subscribe to my channel for more content and ideas, and for more resources, follow the links below to my website.